Egypt condemns Israeli closure orders for 6 UNRWA schools in East Jerusalem, calling it a blatant violation of international law. Prime Minister Madbouli states President Sisi prioritizes Upper Egypt in the national agenda for development and service projects. And the IMF forecasts Egypt's economy to grow 5.6% by 2028 to 2029 fiscal year. The news in detail. The Arab Republic of Egypt has condemned the Israeli occupation's issuance of closures orders for 6 UNRWA schools in occupied East Jerusalem, stressing that this step constitutes a flagrant and unacceptable violation of international law. Egypt affirmed its support for UNRWA, its efforts and its services in all its areas of operation, including occupied East Jerusalem, emphasizing the pivotal role it plays in providing essential and fundamental services to Palestinian refugees, a role that is indispensable and irreplaceable. Egypt emphasized its complete rejection of the systematic targeting campaign facing the UN agency and its mandate, emphasizing the importance of preserving the inalienable rights of Palestinian refugees and the Palestinian people, including the right of return. Foreign Minister Badr Abdulati has traveled to the Turkish city of Antalya to take part in the 4th edition of the Antalya Diplomacy Forum, which is being held from April 11th till 13th. The minister is scheduled to participate in several sessions of the forum and will also hold bilateral meetings on the sidelines with a number of his counterparts. In addition, he will take part in a meeting of the Arab Islamic Contact Group on Gaza. Egypt's Foreign Minister Badr Abdulati has stated that Egypt is making vigorous efforts to establish a ceasefire in Gaza and called for a return to the truce agreement. In a joint press conference with Hungarian Foreign Minister, Abdulati reaffirmed Egypt's firm stance against the forced displacement of Palestinians. The two ministers discussed the strengthening of bilateral ties, focusing on trade, economic cooperation and mutual investments, including in renewable energy and tourism. The Hungarian Foreign Minister has praised Egypt's efforts in promoting peace in the region. He acknowledged Egypt's significant role in mediating the ceasefire process in Gaza. The Hungarian minister emphasized Egypt's commitment to stability and peace, highlighting its central stance in facilitating dialogue and efforts to halt the violence. Egypt's diplomatic action have been essential in trying to bring lasting peace in the troubled region. Egypt's Foreign Minister Badr Abdulati, in a phone call with Iranian counterpart Abbas Araghchi, has emphasized the need for restraint during this critical period, urging against actions that could escalate tensions in the region. According to the Egyptian Foreign Ministry spokesperson, Ambassador Tamim Khalaf, the conversation addressed regional developments, including the importance of protecting freedom of navigation in the Red Sea. The ministers also discussed Egypt's efforts to solidify the Gaza ceasefire and de-escalate the current situation. Foreign Minister Badr Abdulati held talks with his British counterpart David Lammy, during which they emphasized the importance of joint efforts to contain the escalation in the region and to avoid a broader conflict given its severe consequences for the people of the region. Lamy was briefed on Egypt's efforts to restore the ceasefire agreement, initiate the second phase of the process, and halt the current Israeli escalation. The two ministers also discussed Egypt's firm support for Sudan, its security, stability, national institutions, and sovereignty of its territory, as well as efforts to restore stability and achieve peace in the country. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli asserted that President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi puts the upper Egyptian government rates on top of the agenda of the national action in this stage, which witnesses the reconstruction of the modern Egyptian state to implement several developmental and service projects for those government rates. During his tour in Asyut, Madbouli pointed out to his keenness to continue tours in the different service and developmental projects in the fields of health and education, in addition to the projects of utilities and sanitation. Madbouli said that big interest in the upper Egyptian government rates comes within the framework of the program of the government to improve the living conditions of the Egyptians, achieve economic development, and increase efficiency of governmental performance to achieve sustainable development in all government rates in Upper Egypt. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli began his visit to Asyut Governorate in Upper Egypt by inspecting the newly renovated Manfalut Central Hospital, emphasizing that healthcare is a top priority for the government, with President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi continuously following up on the progress of the healthcare development across the country. Madbouli confirmed that the government aims to expand services to underserved rural areas and is working closely with both local and international private sectors to improve healthcare quality and ensure the sustainability of new projects. Deputy Prime Minister for Human Development and Minister of Health and Population Khaled Abdel Ghaffar highlighted during the hospital visit that health is at the core of Egypt's development strategy. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli had talks with Doug Harrington, CEO of Amazon Global Stores, and his accompanying delegation to explore opportunities for expanding in the Egyptian market and enhancing cooperation in the field of digital trade. The Prime Minister expressed his eagerness to support Amazon's efforts and investments in Egypt, noting his previous visit to one of the company's facilities in the country. For his part, Amazon's CEO affirmed the company's commitment to empowering thousands of small and medium-sized enterprises to grow through its digital platform and to continuing its collaboration with the government to streamline procedures and encourage more local businesses to join the digital economy. According to the latest forecasts from the International Monetary Fund, Egypt's economy is expected to grow at the annual rate of 5.6% by the 2020-2029 fiscal year. The IMF's outlook reflects growing international confidence in Egypt's economic reform agenda, which has centered on liberalizing markets, strengthening the private sector, and creating a more attractive investment climate. The fund highlighted that sectors such as renewable energy, infrastructure development, logistics, and information technology are likely to drive long-term economic expansion. According to the Central Bank of Egypt, core inflation has slowed in March to 9.4% year-on-year compared to 10% in February. This is the lowest core inflation rate since February 2022. Core inflation is reported by the Central Bank and excludes volatile items such as vegetables. Monthly core inflation recorded approximately 0.9% in March 2025 compared to 1.6% the previous month. Finance Minister Ahmed Kojik has revealed that Egypt aims to issue sovereign sukuk worth a total of approximately $2 billion in 2025. Finance Minister Ahmed Kojak noted that the government has already appointed a group of international banks to manage the process. Alongside the Sukuk issuance, the government is also exploring debt for investment swaps, modelled after last year's Ras Al Hikma agreement. Minister of Industry and Transport Kamil Al-Wazir and U.S. Ambassador Hero Mustafa Garj have witnessed the signing of 3 contracts between Egypt National Railways and U.S. company Progress Rail to upgrade 100 Hinschel locomotives, supply spare parts for 141 locomotives over 15 years, and provide technical support for 10 years. Al-Wazir said that the contract is part of a plan of the Ministry of Transport to support the existing fleet of locomotives to contribute to increasing the number of trips on the railway network's lines, improve the services, and meet the needs of commuters. Al-Wazir said that the contract aims to strengthening the local industry to ensure that renovation and maintenance operation will be efficiently carried out by the Egyptian Railways Maintenance and Services. Minister of Housing Sharif Al-Sherbini held a meeting to follow up on the executive status of the projects aimed at reviving Cairo's Khedive district. The meeting also reviewed several proposals for the plans related to pedestrian pathways in downtown Cairo. The meeting discussed the proposed elements for the works related to the pedestrian pathways in downtown Cairo, including preparations for pedestrians' access and site landscaping elements such as lighting poles, vegetation, flooring, and more. The status of remaining works in the development and revival projects for the historic Azbekiya Garden was also reviewed. The minister directed the project's timeline to be accelerated and an executive plan be established for all remaining works. Eni CEO Claudio Descalzi has said that Eni plans to invest about €8 billion in Egypt over the next 4 years. Descalzi emphasized that Egypt has the potential to play the role of hydrocarbon supplier for Europe, but require extra investment to expand their energy production and meet rising domestic demand. Eni has been a key player in the energy sector, especially following the discovery of the Zuhr offshore gas field in 2015, the largest in the Mediterranean. This year, the second well drilling campaign in the field kicked off with the aim of reversing the production decline that began in 2021 and reached a 6-year low in 2024. And to our sports segment, the first football team of Al Ahly club is set to clash with the rival Pyramids FC in the second round of the second phase of the Egyptian League at the current 2024-2025 season. The Al Ahly Pyramids FC match is the Nile League has been scheduled for the evening of Saturday, April 12th. The Air Defense Stadium will host this match, which is scheduled to kick off at 7 p.m. Cairo local time. Pyramids FC currently leads the Egyptian League table with 43 points, while Al Ahly occupies the second position with 39 points. And to the weather forecasts, in Egypt will continue to be affected by a spring air mass towards the end of this week. Temperatures will remain cooler than average for this time of the year, with northwesterly winds continuing to blow, stirring up sand and significantly increasing the feeling of cold, especially in the evening and night hours. Temperatures remain 6 to 8 degrees Celsius cooler than average for this time of the year. That brings us to the end of our news bulletin. Here is what we've been covering. Egypt condemns Israeli closure orders for for 6 UNRWA schools in East Jerusalem, calling it a blatant violation of international law. Prime Minister Madbouli states President Sisi prioritizes Upper Egypt in the national agenda for development and service projects. And the IMF forecasts Egypt's economy to grow 5.6% annually by 2028-2029 fiscal year. Well, that's all for now. Remember to stay updated by following Qnews for the latest developments. Many thanks for watching.